So you should have the public speaking guided notes and either in front of you or on your computer. And we're going to be talking about the body when you're doing your public speaking. Remember that there are 4 types that we've talked about already: the informational, demonstrative, persuasive, and entertaining when it comes to the basic types of public speeches that people do. So when you're preparing the speech, on your notes, find the second page, it's number 4. We're going to be starting with the body. And why? Well, because when you're preparing a speech, that's where you should start. And that means that you're picking your topic first. You can't really do the introduction or the conclusion until you have the body done first. So that's why we're kind of starting in the middle of the notes. You should pick a topic that you either know a lot about or something that's interesting to you, because if you don't, it's going to make the whole research part of this a lot more difficult. You should, first of all, find a topic and then start collecting data. So you're finding information, collecting a bunch of it, and once you have a bunch of information, you want to make a plan by looking at what you have and coming up with your main points. And this is where we start talking about the rule of 3. The rule of 3 basically just means that after you had a topic, you're going to pick 3 main points that go along with the topic. You don't want to ever go below 3 main points, because that's just not enough to give a full presentation or speech. Once in a while, it's okay if you have 4 main points. Sometimes you just can't make it into 3, and there's going to be 4 distinct points, so I guess that's fine sometimes. You never want to have more than 5. And why is that? Well, because it goes with the rule of 3. Why 3? Well, because this is what people tend to remember the best. So sets of 3, anything in 3, are easiest for people to remember. Next thing that we're going to talk about is something called oral footnotes. And oral footnotes are what you do when you're speaking and you cite a source verbally. Obviously, a speech is something that you're doing verbally, so you're saying where you got some of your information. This is when you would say something like, according to maybe something that you read, you got some information, and you'd say, according to this person, or maybe you did an interview, so you could say, according to Dr. Leo Grant, 80% of civil engineers work for companies that build bridges and roads. So you just gave some information that you either found out by reading something, the source came from some written material, or maybe it was somebody you actually spoke with, so it was an interview. But you don't want to take something that's not credible or reliable. A lot of times things on Wikipedia, they're not very reliable. And I know in a lot of college classes, they won't even allow sources to come from there. So when you do your speeches in our class, you have to have at least 2 oral footnotes where you say, according to, or you cite a source. And when you do this, this just builds credibility and establishes goodwill between you and your audience. So using sources that you cite verbally make your speech much more credible.